And we are live with the Jimnasium Tailgate Big 12 episode, folks. Let's fucking go. I am your host, XFL Jim, joined today with my illustrious co-host, the man, the myth, the legend, the Gulf Coast guru himself. It's Magic fucking Mike. How you doing, buddy?
Yes, sir. It is me, the GCG. I am doing fantastic, dude. We are wrapping up the Power 5, getting there real close, and a big show coming tomorrow. I'm all fucking jacked up, brother.
Oh, dude, I am so fucking hyped. We are in the precipice of college football coming to your eyeballs. Like, literally, once the preseason of the NFL starts, I know college football is right around the corner. It's so close, I can almost taste it. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait for college football this year. I've been hungry for it. And
your boys are kicking it off too.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy that Nebraska gets to like kick off college football. It's an honor. I will take the privilege. It's Memorial Stadium is going to have like 2 huge events this month. They get not this month. The college football game isn't this month, but they're getting a huge concert this weekend. Like tomorrow, Garth Brooks is playing there.
Very nice, very nice. I don't even care if you like Garth Brooks. You should just go to something, man. I haven't been to a concert yet.
I know a couple of people that are going just to tailgate for the concert.
Yeah, I've always heard like country music's not huge my bag. Like I'll listen to it every now and then, but
some of them put on a hell of a show though.
I've always heard like, especially just the experience, like even like Kenny Chesney and like Jimmy Buffett. It's just the event, you know. And I've heard the same about Garth, so that's pretty sweet.
I think our boy Chase right here already has an opinion on how this stream is going to go, how this podcast is going to go. Iowa State, end of stream, end of podcast. He's been on Iowa State from the beginning. I respect it,
man. I am too, but we'll see. It unfolds pretty dramatically. I think the Big 12 and the favors they pull for Texas, Oklahoma, I think that might come back to bite them in the ass, man.
Going through this schedule, the lengths that the Big 12 goes to make sure Oklahoma has a favorable schedule is insane.
I mean, they'll be the last 2 teams we do, and they'll be back to back, so we'll really be able to highlight it for people. What they did to Iowa State and what they did for Oklahoma this year is fucking ridiculous. I was enraged.
They did them dirty. Let's just fucking get right into it. Ugh. Jump right in. Kansas, the bottom of the barrel. I think I would probably posit Kansas is probably the worst Power 5 team.
Yeah, man. That's
with their win total is set to 1.
I was talking about it with a friend today. I'm bullshitting about because this is all I do anymore is look at this shit. So I'm talking about Kansas football with a friend, probably one of 6 people in the entire country doing that. And like talking about their athletic director that scheduled Coastal Carolina probably like 6 years ago, you know, and like what an asshole he looks like now.
Yeah, that turns out not to be such a smooth. So when I think recent Kansas football, I think of it was probably like 4 or 5 years ago when they were playing Rutgers in the midseason for who was going to be the worst Power 5 team. And I think Rutgers like took it to them.
I mean, I just remember I always forget it's Mangini, right? Or Mangino.
Yeah, Mangino.
That orange. And when he was standing next to that orange at the Orange Bowl and he was just as wide as it, the mascot.
Oh, yeah.
I always think
Kansas was a fucking decent team.
Yeah, and I think, like, what the fuck happened, man? You guys were there, and he swore at some players, and they fired them. And
I'm pretty sure it was a similar thing for, like, Texas Tech getting rid of Leach. He was, like, kind of, like, aggressive with players.
Well, didn't he lock one in a closet or something, though?
That was Leach. Leach locked one guy in a shed.
Yeah. I mean, that's close to being a little too far, maybe.
But a win total of 1. That is fucking crazy. Let's jump into the schedule. They start the season off with South Dakota at home. And if you're going to schedule an FCS, probably don't schedule one that made it, like, didn't they make it the semifinals and the playoffs this spring?
Yeah, you definitely did not want to mess with either of the South Dakota, any of the Dakotas, none of the Dakotas.
Don't fuck with the
So,
Dakotas if you're trying to
don't-
schedule an FCS team, is my advice to you.
Yeah, exactly. So this is not by any means a gimme. Lance Leopold coming to town, program builder, brings some players from Buffalo. I'm gonna give Leopold the respect, and I'm gonna give him this. If it was South Dakota State, it'd be a loss automatically. South Dakota, I'll give it to Leopold.
I think this is a bigger rebuild than Leopold has ever had to go under. I'm giving them a loss here. I do not. South Dakota was pretty good this spring.
That's fair enough.
They played this year. They played like a season this year. I think that experience helps them. And I just don't trust Kansas. It's not Leopold I don't trust. It's Kansas I don't trust.
That's a fair argument, man. I'm just giving my man some respect, and
that's fair.
Assuming Les Miles did some dirty things, and there are some recruits there that, hey, maybe they're worth a damn.
Maybe. I trust Lance, but man, the fact that he also came in late, I don't like that. I think this is a bigger rebuild than he's had yet. After South Dakota, they go to Coastal Carolina.
Yeah, that's an ass whipping.
That's a fucking ass whipping. Coastal Carolina has been taking it to them.
Really, it's not pretty.
After that, they get Baylor at home.
Yeah, that's a loss.
That's a loss right there. Then a back-to-back road slate of at Duke and at Iowa State.
Oh, man. I'm giving them Duke. I'm still working on my theory that I've been going with the whole time. I think it's the end of the line for Cutcliffe. And what a big win that would be for Lance Leopold and the Kansas Jayhawk squad. Program building. Hey, let's go for it. I'm giving them a win against Duke.
I can't in good faith. At Duke, I can't do it. They're going to lose both of these games.
Good chance.
After that, they get the bye week. Then they get Texas Tech and Oklahoma both at home.
Do they have Iowa State? Oh, okay. You said
okay, the back-to-back of at Duke and at Iowa State before the bye week.
I got you. I mean, there's no suspense to it. I gave them losses the rest of the time.
I gave them 2 L's. You gave them the Duke win. This is none. After the bye week, Texas Tech, maybe I could see like dropping a game.
Yeah, that's the last one where there's any hope at all, I guess. But I'm not seeing it.
I got a favorite Tech though.
Yeah, same here.
But they're losing to Tech. They're losing to Oklahoma. At Oklahoma State, no.
Nope.
Kansas State, not a chance.
Not a prayer.
At Texas and at TCU back-to-back in West Virginia to clear it off at home. I have Kansas going winless in Lance Leopold's first year, and I feel so bad for him.
I gave him the 2-10 out of respect. Let me ask you this, because I can look at the other 11 games, and I know for a fact they will be underdogs in all 11. Are they even the favorite against South Dakota?
If they are, I am taking South Dakota. I am running to the window and betting South Dakota. If Kansas is the favorite. There's
a couple FCSs, week 1 in particular, I've seen that have a chance to win. I mean, there's one, South Dakota State, I'm picking hands down. I honestly, I can't even think of off the top of my head. I think it might be Colorado State they play.
I think so.
And that one to me is money. I think that's hands down. I think they're beating them. But this one is like real close with that one as far as like
this is
FCS. Right, I think that might do it.
I think if you can get a favorable number on the under here, I might take it.
Yeah, actually, I don't know, man. Our boy gotta get 2. He's gotta get 2. It's so once things are rolling along a little bit and things are going downhill for some teams, if he could get a motivational win, you know what I mean?
If Baylor is really bad this year, 4 games are maybe winnable. And that's being the most generous I can be. That's giving them South Dakota, Duke, Baylor, and Tech.
Yeah, I mean, those are the only games on the schedule that have any shot, but at least those games, apart from Duke, are at home, so 3 of the 4.
The Texas Tech one, I like that it's after a bye, but I still got to favor Tech. I think they're in the right. I think they're more on the upswing.
Tech has TCU and K-State around that. I'll tell you what, if Tech, and they do this every now and then, particularly against TCU, which TCU is between Texas, they have Texas Tech between Texas and Oklahoma. If Texas Tech catches TCU at home, Kansas might get them after that bye week.
They could be in prime letdown position, but man, I'm probably staying away from this one. But if anything, I might just see if it's a plus number, I might go under.
Or if you could by some chance find a 1.5 out there, you should.
Oh, if you can find a 1.5, give it to me. Give it to me. Up next, Texas Tech, the Red Raiders, with a win total set at 4.5. I love the jump from Kansas at 1 immediately to 4.5.
I know, that just goes to show you, man. I'm pulling for Matt Wells. They're doing this thing that Texas schools are one of the best at, where the boosters and the alumni and all those guys, they didn't want the Matt Wells hire in the first place, and they fucking hate him. And I think the guy's a good coach. I think he needs time. I think what he's honestly doing, it's not really reflected there yet. I think he's trying to build a damn defense in Texas Tech, which they haven't had in forever. It sucks. I think it's bowl or bust for Matt Wells this year.
And I hate that because I loved him at Utah State. He was killing it there.
Yes, he did a hell of a job.
I thought maybe he could keep that sort of offensive power and bring a defensive identity to Texas Tech, which is something they've lacked forever.
And you know, it goes to show too, you know, people, and not that I necessarily think he's a great coach, but people talked shit about Cliff Kingsbury for years. And it's like, you got to understand who you are sometimes. You're Texas Tech. You're not premier. You could squeak out some 8-win seasons here and there, but 6-6 it's good. Going bowling is good for this program. I
sometimes wonder if these programs like Texas Tech and Washington State, when a Mike Leach comes through and like shows you the top of what your program could be, and like squeezes every last bit of like skill and talent out of your program to get you to like 10 wins or something like that. That is not something you can expect out of every coach.
No, absolutely not. I mean, not in a talent pool as deep as Texas, where there's a ton of talent, but there's also a ton of teams, and a lot of them are premier. I mean, you're sharing the wealth, man.
You're like, if you're Texas Tech, you're probably most Texas kids like 4th or 5th choice.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, you know, if you're talking guys younger than us, you know, they haven't seen Texas Tech be good.
It does not help being in Lubbock. Like,
yeah, I mean, that's a podunk.
TCU gets Dallas, A&M gets Houston a little bit, Texas obviously gets Austin, and then Tech gets just Lubbock. It's not the same draw that those other cities are.
It's not, man. It's really not. So
I love Texas Tech. I love the mentality. I love the tortillas. I love everything about this school.
I think they're gonna get really excited about Graham Harrell. I think that's the direction it's going. I mean, he's a commodity. Everybody, you know, drools all over him out there. But you've seen what a non-Leach air raid guy can do at your school. Like Cliff Kingsbury is a good offensive mind. I would argue he's a good offensive mind. What are you getting out of Graham Harrell that you weren't already getting out of Kingsbury is my question. A less good-looking coach.
Like before they hired Graham Harrell at USC, they were going for Kingsbury. It's like the same guy.
I know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's go through this. Yeah. Let's get through the schedule. They start the season off with Houston at home.
This is neutral site.
It's a neutral site. That's right.
It's NRG Stadium, which, if we're being entirely honest, until today, I actually thought Houston just played at NRG Stadium, to be honest. So I learned that today. But I would say there's no real advantage for either team. Lubbock, Texas Tech does travel pretty well, surprisingly. Yeah. So this is about as true of a 50-50 coin flip game as you could get. I gave the game to Houston, but I don't feel great about it.
I'm kind of there with you too. I kind of favor Houston just the slightest in this one, just mainly because they're returning so many players. And this is like, even for Texas Tech, how it's a make or break year. For Dana, he's starting to get on the hot seat a little bit with Houston already.
Yes, that's exactly it too. And there's a lot of, I mean, for the first game of the year, I mean, Texas Tech, they lost that Alan Bowman. He went to Michigan. They bring in Tyler Shuck from Oregon. So you got a new quarterback there, which he's pretty decent. I'm sure Oregon's sad to see him go, but so he's new. And then you also have 10 Power 5 transfers making up your defense. That's insane.
That's pretty rough. That's pretty nuts.
So yeah, I got just out of continuity. I'm gonna give it to Houston.
I got to favor Houston just the slightest bit there too. After that, they get Stephen F. Austin at home. That's always a nice little tune-up.
Yeah, there you go. If it was basketball, maybe we'd be a little worried. But yeah,
Texas
football.
Tech actually has a good basketball team though.
That's true. Yeah. Well, didn't Stephen F. Austin beat the Longhorns this year though? I think.
I think so.
Good. Fuck Texas. Yeah, I got the win over Stephen F. Austin.
Got the win over them too. Then they get FIU at home. I got a favor Tech there too.
Yep, I got another win.
After that, a rough back-to-back road slate of at Texas and at West Virginia.
Yeah, and West Virginia is about the worst second leg of a back-to-back you can have in this conference. I got two losses.
I got two losses there as well. Then they get TCU at home.
Yeah, this is that tricky spot I was saying, but I do have a loss for Texas.
I got a loss for Tech here too. I'm actually going to be pretty high on TCU this year. As a little spoiler. I got them obviously beating Kansas.
Same here.
I have them losing next to K-State at home though.
You know, I had to give this team some stupid wins because Texas Tech's always going to catch a stupid win, and I gave them one against K-State.
So I could very well see this, especially if K-State gets the win. They play Iowa State beforehand. If they get the win in Farm-again, that's a prime letdown spot for the Wildcats.
Absolutely. And a spot that Texas Tech always seems to thrive in. So
I got to favor K-State there. I feel like I'm also pretty high on them. After that, they get Oklahoma at OU before the bye week.
Yeah, that's a loss.
That's an easy loss right there. After the bye week, they get Iowa State at home. Another easy loss.
Yeah, I mean, that game, again, just like TCU, it does come between Texas and Oklahoma for Iowa State. So don't fall asleep at the wheel, Iowa State. But, yeah, I got to
They don't seem like the kind of team that would, though.
They better not this year. I'll tell you that much.
This is a very important year for Iowa State.
After don't forget, Iowa State, they went out and fell asleep at the wheel and lost by 17 to ULL last year.
That was the first game of the season.
I know.
So the Iowa schools, to me, they always have a slow start.
Mm-hmm.
It's similar to like Northwestern has always a slow start. They'll drop like some weird Eastern Michigan school, then win the Big Ten West.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
After Iowa State, they get Oklahoma State at home, and then they play at Baylor to finish out the season.
This is another stupid one. I got OK State losing this one. It's between TCU and Oklahoma. It's right before the big rivalry with Oklahoma. So I did give this one to Texas Tech.
I am kind of flipped on that one. I actually have them losing to Oklahoma State and beating Baylor.
That's fair enough too.
I think they win one of those two.
Yeah, I agree.
I have them set at 3 wins.
And I got them 5 and 7. I don't feel good about it.
I have them at 4 wins, sorry, but I still feel with that half, I feel the under.
Yeah, I think 5 is the ceiling, the absolute ceiling. So I lean under, honestly, even though I went 5. I gave them some pretty generous games.
This is a tough conference, I'll be honest. This is like all the teams are like pretty well around, like they're around bowl-ish.
Yep. Everybody but Kansas.
Right. Up next, the Baylor Bears win total set at 5.5.
Yeah,
Can Dave Aranda do it? Can he get them to a bowl game?
That felt high when I looked at it at first, but looking at the non-conference,
Baylor has forever. Ever since Bryles got there, they've always had like the easiest non-conference in the Big 12. It's something they've consistently done for like a decade now.
Yeah, and they just get a lot of good home games. Like it's a good schedule for them. But I'm not a big – I don't know. Dave Aranda's getting a lot of hype. A lot of people believe in him. And, I mean, I like the defensive look. I like that the D still looks good. They return 22 guys that got snaps last year. They were a top 50 unit in the country last year. So the D is going to be the strength. The offense is going to have to get back rolling, though. They were 100th in scoring last year, so that's not good. We'll see.
You do sometimes worry about it with these defensive head coaches, at these DC head coaches, that if they don't get the right guy at offensive coordinator, that offense is bad.
Well, especially in the Big 12, like you'd think that's the creepy factor. Like, oh, I'm kind of like the Stanford of the Big 12 or whatever, but it doesn't work like that in that conference. You have to have some firepower.
So some people I feel like people have been discounting the Big 12's defense recently. West Virginia the last 2 years has had like a top 30 defense in the country.
I am very high on West Virginia for that reason, but they do still bring it on offense a little bit.
Yep.
And I mean, you got Alex Grinch. I hate Oklahoma, but he has really turned that defense around.
That's why I think Oklahoma is in like a prime position to win it all. This I hate that, especially for what they've fucking done. But I have been on Oklahoma since like May this year, like early this year.
The giant preview show when we do it tomorrow, you're gonna see some Jekyll and Hyde out of me on mainly Oklahoma. It's just like if you were gonna ask me the team that is most definitely going to be in the college football playoff this year, it would probably be Oklahoma. But if you looked at what I did, like when I did all my conference champions, I didn't do Oklahoma. So it's strange, man.
Yeah, it's fucking same way. So back to Baylor. They start the season off at Texas State.
Yeah, danger, Dave Aranda. I'm going to give Baylor the win, but I'll give you a little spoiler. I already looked ahead to a line, and it's close to 2 touchdowns in that game. I'm going to take the points with Texas State. That offense at Texas State's no joke. They could put up points. I think they're going to push Baylor a little bit, but I got the win.
I got the win for Baylor as well. Respect to Baylor for traveling to a G5 school. If you're going to be scheduling these quote-unquote cupcake schools, I respect the teams that will travel to them. That's always a cool move.
I tell you what, I agree with you, but I don't always love – I mean, I think it's quote-unquote like nice of them, but if I was an athletic director, I wouldn't travel to a backyard team in the group of 5. Like Duke going to Charlotte this year, Baylor going – that's scary, man. I wouldn't do it.
Like I'm pretty sure like Purdue is traveling to UConn or something like that.
Yeah, that's one of the creepiest games I can think of.
Always a weird move. I respect it, but like if I was an athletic director, I would never do it.
No, and not when you see. There's a reason the SEC's rolling, man. They're scheduling. It's what it's all about. So
what it's all about. After Texas State, they get Texas Southern at home.
Yep, we'll give them a win.
Nice win. Then they get at Kansas. That's a super nice start to the schedule.
Yeah, another win.
Iowa State at home is a very tough spot. They could do it, but I think that's more on Iowa State than it is Baylor.
Yeah, I mean this is where we're gonna see it's very tricky for Iowa State this year. It's the second leg of a back-to-back road trip for Iowa State, so they're gonna have to be ready. I gave it to Matt Campbell and the boys, so Baylor gets a loss.
Same here. I got a loss for Baylor here. Then after that, they get to go to Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I got a loss there.
I lost there too. West Virginia and BYU both at home before the bye week.
I have them splitting it. They could easily actually take both of those games though, but I do have them beating West Virginia. It's a far travel. I don't like this team enough to give them both wins, to be honest.
I'll give them BYU, but I'm right there with you. I have them 1-1 on this stretch. I don't know which one they take, but I think they only get one.
Yeah, agreed.
After the bye week, they get Texas at home, and then they travel to TCU.
It's a dangerous game for Texas because that's right before Iowa State. And as you said, they got the bye week before they play Texas. Texas and Oklahoma, obviously, we all know they put the target on their own back. Oklahoma has the talent and the prestige to back it up. Texas does not. I gave the loss to Baylor here, but look out, Texas.
That's a close one. I'm also going to give the loss to Baylor here. Then after that, they get to travel to TCU. I got to favor TCU in the home matchup.
Yep, gave them another loss.
They finish off the season with Oklahoma at home, at Kansas State, and Texas Tech at home.
I have them going 1-2 to finish with winning over Texas Tech.
I got them winning over Texas Tech as well. Actually, no, I don't. I have them losing all these games.
So I don't
think Baylor will ever not be like circled on Kansas State ever since 2012. I think 2012 has put a target on Baylor's back for Kansas State, and they're just like always going to get up for that game.
I agree. K-State, it's kind of funny. I never really thought of it, but that team does they hold grudges, man.
If K-State ever plays Texas A&M, that will be a dirty game. That will be
yes.
Baylor and Texas A&M are the only two schools that have ever snatched a national championship berth from K-State.
Yeah,
they will hold that grudge for life.
They will, man, and it's just such a dangerous. I'm so happy that Chris Kleiman is the one who took that team over. I love that team being good. I love it.
He's the perfect guy for it.
He is. He just kept the same culture there. Like, we're not the most talented, but we're still just going to punch you in the mouth every chance. So, hey, we're on to them next. But I got Baylor 5-7.
I've got them 4-8, and I got to favor the under here.
Same here, man. Easy schedule, but I'm still leaning under.
A lot of these ones are leans. Up next, Kansas State with a win total set at 5.5. I'm just going to blindly tell you I'm probably on the over. I'm thinking more like last year, Kansas State was one of the teams most wrecked by COVID. And I think I'm looking more at like 2019 K-State, where they were a good team and they have a good coach. And they get a lot of players back. Their quarterback won't be injured most of the year. They're just going to be a decent team.
Hopefully not, because Skyler Thompson's great. I love Skyler Thompson. He's closing in on Colin Klein's record for I think it's 5,000 career passing yards and over 1,000 rushing yards, something like that. But Kleiman has this team going in the absolute perfect direction. This is year 3. I mean, last year they still beat Oklahoma, and they had wide receivers running around at quarterback or cornerback. Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous. This team's going to be much closer to what they were in 2019. This over-under, honestly, to me, it's disrespectful. I think they're going to remember it. They got 4 or 5 starters back on the O-line. They got Skyler Thompson, we already talked about. Deuce Vaughn is one of the most exciting running backs in the whole country. I absolutely love that dude. A lot of experience at wide receiver. And, hey, guess what happens when you get a lot of COVID problems? You get everybody on your roster gets experience. All of those guys have experience on defense now, even some of the wide receivers. So, Yep, I like this team.
The crazy statistic for me is that Chris Kleiman is 2-0 versus Lincoln Riley.
I know. It's unbelievable.
It's fucking crazy. Let's jump into this schedule. Starting off with Stanford at a neutral site in Arlington.
Yeah, neutral in Arlington. Not very neutral.
Neutral.
K-State
is going to travel to Texas. I will tell you that.
I got to win for K-State easy.
I got to win for K-State there too. Then they get Southern Illinois and Nevada back-to-back at home. Love me some of Southern Illinois. They're one of my favorite FCS teams, but I just don't see them getting it done.
No, I don't. Not in Manhattan. So, yeah, win for me for K-State. Nevada, I had to pick. I wanted them to win one of their 2 Power 5 teams. They have at Cal. They have at K-State. Kansas State's the one I picked because they got Oklahoma State in Stillwater the week after. I'm taking Nevada to get that upset. Loss for K-State.
I got to do the same here. I just think the defense of Cal stops Nevada more, and I think they get one of those 2 as well. I think Nevada could get both. They're that good.
Yeah.
But I think K-State does still seem like the kind of team that would drop one of these out-of-conference sort of schedule, sort of easy games, so to speak. Yep. And then just go through a tear in the conference. So I have them. You know what? Fuck it. Give me the win versus Nevada. They're going to lose to Oklahoma State, though.
I do have them dropping to Oklahoma State as well.
But Oklahoma before the bye week.
And that is before the Red River, I'm going to say it, shootout for Oklahoma. However, I do have Lincoln Riley finally getting his revenge here. I have K-State losing.
Okay. Oklahoma before Red River, K-State, usually bad against Gundy, especially on a weird year like this. Great against Oklahoma, and I am going to be at this game.
Ooh.
As a K-State, one of my best friends is a K-State fan. I will be at this game rooting for K-State as much as against Oklahoma for their bullshit of leaving the Big 12 and destroying this conference. They are losing. Oklahoma is losing this game. K-State is getting a win. It's just happening. I don't know what to tell you. It's just going to happen.
First of all, I expect many videos to be streamed on every service that you use because I want to see everything, all the environment there until the game's on. Watch the game.
Oh, yeah.
But
There'll
I need
be
to see
plenty. I will do plenty of Manhattan content. Hopefully, I can get the day off of work, get a Thursday or Friday off, and go to downtown Manhattan, go to Aggieville, and get the full experience because I've done it before. Dude, and I love that town. I love Manhattan so
That's
much.
The best thing. When you go to these college games, you got to completely immerse yourself in the entire surrounding environment.
Shout out Varsity Donuts, best donuts I've ever had in my life.
Awesome. I hope they're listening.
K-State getting the win here, though.
I'll tell you what.
I
will lose massive amounts of respect for Lincoln Riley. With the amount of talent on that team, there is no excuse that you don't know that K-State has your number and is gunning for you. You gotta get this win. I hope they lose because fuck Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
But
you gotta think if you're Oklahoma, every Big 12 team has you like triple circled. You are the team that everyone is going after.
And guess what, man? The refs are not doing any favors.
They fucking better not.
When it's in conference, Texas and Oklahoma aren't getting calls, man. I'll tell you that right now.
After the bye week, it's Farmageddon time. Iowa State, K-State. Love this game. Holy shit. I might be going to this one too.
Oh, man, you're going to be spending some time there, huh?
Oh, dude. I don't know because it's so close together. If work can give it to me, I'll do it, but fuck. Looking forward to it. I got K-State losing this one, though.
I do, too. I mean, Iowa State has the bye before as well. I'm going to give it to Campbell.
I think K-State, if whatever the spread is, I will take the underdog because this game, except for last year, this game is generally super close.
Yes, I expect it to be very close this year, too. I think it's going to be a very hard-fought battle, but Iowa State, man, it's the year. It's the year.
It's the year. After Iowa State, they go to Texas Tech, and I got them with the win there.
Yeah, I got them dropping that game after Farmageddon.
After Texas Tech, it's TCU at home.
I got them winning it.
I got them winning it too. At home, I think gives them the nice advantage over the Horned Frogs.
Yes, sir. Agreed.
After that, they get to go to Kansas, which doesn't matter. They're going to shit stomp Kansas. I'll just tell you that right now.
Yeah, they're going to fuck Kansas up.
And they get West Virginia and Baylor at home.
West Virginia gives K-State fits, but
they do. But I think the fact that it's in Manhattan, I think West Virginia traveling is difficult.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm on the same page. So I got the win for K-State there, and I got them beating Baylor.
I got 2 wins for them there as well. Then they finish off the season at Texas.
God, I do have them losing against Texas, but
let me tell you this. K-State generally, as a general rule of thumb, owns Texas. It's just a fact. Throughout like all of Mac Brown's tenure, even when K-State had Ron Prince as a head coach, they never lost. Ron Prince never lost to Texas. He lost to Kansas.
When we get to Texas, you'll see why. I'm gonna stick. I really like last game of the season, Texas in the Big 12 potentially. I really want to fucking give them a loss on that, but I have to somewhat tame my hatred of Texas and the fuck Texas tour.
I fucking hate Texas. I like K-State. Give me the win. Kansas State goes 10-2.
Is that what you have them at, 10-2?
I have them losing to Iowa State and Oklahoma State and winning every other game. Even giving them, if I have them lose at Oklahoma and lose at Texas and lose at Nevada, I still have them over. I love this over so fucking much.
I mean, that's what I even have them dropping a game in there to Texas Tech, and I still have them over. I have them 6-6, but that's the absolute floor. Absolute floor.
To me, is like this is going to be an 8 or 9 win team.
I think
that's where they're at.
I think 8 is much more likely, and it's 9. I think 9 is more likely than under 6. I'll tell you that right now.
God, I love this. Is my favorite one of the. I'll just tell you this is my favorite play of the conference. K-State over 5.5.
Pound it. I'm on board.
Pound it. Up next, West Virginia with a win total set at 6.5. Really, I really like. I've been rooting for Neil Brown. Loved him at Troy. I'm really hoping he can get West Virginia back to like the heights of what Dana had him at.
Mm-hmm. And I think, it's a better brand of football than what Dana had him at. It's real football in the Big 12. Neil Brown, he's 11-11. This is a big year for him. It's time to crest. It's time to get over the hump. You can't be 500 this year. They bring 8 back on offense, which needs to improve a little bit. And they got 6 back on the defense. That was 21st in scoring defense last year, 4th total in the country. They have their quarterback back. They have Letty Brown back at running back, 5.1 yards per carry, 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns, all 5 wide receivers, O-line that's absolutely loaded with experience, all kinds of Power 5 transfers coming in this year. Look for Dante Stills at D tackle. He's friggin' amazing. This team is built well, and I like this team a lot.
I also like West Virginia quite a bit. They start the season off going to Maryland.
Yeah, it's a really weird game. I do have them winning, though.
I do have them winning that one as well. I don't trust Loxley. Like, he's supposed to be this amazing recruiter guy. And I always feel like when people tout a coach, is like they say he's a great recruiter, that just means he's probably not that good of a coach.
Well, and that's exactly what you see, because they do have a lot of recruits. He has recruited well there, but they don't do anything with it. So, yeah, that tells me that he's not a very good coach.
Like, Nick Saban's the best recruiter around, but they don't call Nick Saban a great recruiter. He's a great coach. Like, Urban Meyer was a great coach, but he could recruit with the best of like.
I feel like if you just referenced Nick Saban as a great recruiter and didn't mention his coaching, he'd probably slap you out of the interview.
That's my thought process. Like, when all you know these coaches for is like their recruiting, that just probably means they're not good as a coach. That's like maybe they'd be good as like just a recruiter or like a coordinator.
Absolutely. I mean, keep them with the program to recruit, but DJ Durkin should have been the coach of that team, hands down.
I mean, you can see why he wasn't, but
yeah, I mean, things got a little messy. But well, wait, was Durkin, who took over for Durkin after that went down?
Oh shit.
I got crossed up. Yeah, Durkin was the one that with everything that went down. Who came after him? Because he did a hell of a job.
I remember
Matt Canada.
Matt Canada.
Yes, he did a hell of a job. That's who I'm thinking of, Matt Canada. Because I remember thinking after the DJ Durkin, that shit was gonna hit the fan and it was gonna blow up. And he did a very good job to keep them competitive as interim coach. Yeah, I was pretty surprised he didn't get that job.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised with that too. I was really rooting for him, but I got West Virginia winning over Maryland. After that, they get LIU at home. What is that, Long Island University?
Yeah, Long Island University. They just became an FCS level school, I believe. That's a win for West Virginia
too. Then Virginia Tech at home. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, suck it, Fuentes. We're gonna go ahead and give that to West Virginia.
I'm gonna give it to WVU as well. At Oklahoma after that.
Yeah, I wish that game was in West Virginia, but I'm giving it to Oklahoma.
Gotta give it to Oklahoma. Texas Tech at home following that. I gotta favor West Virginia in that one.
Yep, second leg of a back-to-back road trip for Texas Tech. Definitely West Virginia for me.
At Baylor after Texas Tech.
I do have them dropping that. It's a pretty far travel, so.
I got them winning that one. After that, because they get the bye week afterwards, then they go to TCU after the bye week.
Yeah, they are catching TCU after TCU plays Oklahoma, so keep an eye on that. But I do have them losing at TCU.
I got them losing TCU as well. Then they get Iowa State at home.
Yeah, another trying test for the Iowa State Cyclones. They have to go to West Virginia this year, but I do have them winning. Loss for West Virginia.
Yeah, I got loss for West Virginia there as well. Oklahoma State at home after that.
There is 0% chance that West Virginia loses that game. I'm taking a West Virginia easy.
I like it. I like that. I'm going to go Oklahoma State, though. I got to go Oklahoma State. Then at Kansas State.
That is a loss for West Virginia for me.
That's a loss for West Virginia. Then they get Texas at home.
Yes, the fuck Texas tour continues. I got West Virginia.
I got West Virginia over Texas. And then they finish off at Kansas. A nice win to end the season.
Yes, sir. I got them 7-5.
I got them 7-5 as well. I gotta feel like I should be on the over.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably just a lean, but I like it.
Like right around the right number. They're like a 6 or 7 win team, in my opinion. Like they're anywhere, like their floor is 5 and their absolute ceiling to me is 8. That's how I feel about West. Like their floor to me is 5.
I agree because they could lose the OK State game. What other game?
They could lose OK State, and I could see them losing to like Baylor or Tech, one of the two.
I have them losing to Baylor. I don't I don't think Vatek comes in there and beats them on their own turf. I just can't see that.
Well, I'm saying like maybe Texas Tech, maybe
Texas Tech,
or
second
like,
leg of a back-to-back road trip.
Yeah, I don't like. I'm saying the absolute floor is 5. Like that's the bottom this team has for me.
For me, I think it's 6, but that's still the under, so it's just a lean.
I'm leaning 2. Up next, Oklahoma State with a win total set at 7.5, and blindly, I have to say this is a year no one is thinking about Oklahoma State. No one is thinking about Mike Gundy, and that is when they fucking sneak up on you and do something impressive.
Every single time, man. For one thing, I haven't realized. I did not realize that Mike Gundy's been there for 17 years.
So fucking long.
I mean, holy shit. I did not realize that at all. This is the year, man. Everybody's talking about Chuba Hubbard and Chuba Hubbard being gone, blah, blah, blah. They have 2 different running backs, Desmond Jackson and L.D. Brown, both averaged more yards per carry last year than Chuba Hubbard, and it wasn't that many fewer attempts. It wasn't like it was, 50 attempts on the season. They got 3 of 5 back on the O-line. I'm a Spencer Sanders believer.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to be good. It's just decision-making. Just got to ice that up. So, but here's the thing is we've been talking about the defense getting better. They were the 34th scoring defense in the country last year, 44th total. They returned 8 starters and 28 lettermen in total on the defense. They led the nation in third down defense and defensive touchdowns last year's. So I'm in on this team, man.
People
like
gotta wake up on these Big 12 defenses.
They're coming around, man. They are.
They start the season off with Missouri State and Tulsa both at home.
Yeah, Tulsa, watch out. That game was a little tricky last year, but I got 2 wins.
It was tricky last year, but I think Tulsa loses a little bit too much for Oklahoma State to be like too worried about it.
Agreed.
After that, at Boise State is the out of conference you got to have circled.
That's the one everybody's talking about. I bet that's going to be a huge public dog. I will tell you, a couple years ago, Boise State came down to Stillwater and got it laid on them. I'm going OK State hard. That might be one of my most highest unit bets of the year. I'm going
hard on Oklahoma State here. The Cowboys, generally against these kinds of teams where they're like people are going to be fade them as a favorite, they're going to be lights out.
And it's not the same Boise State team it's been. I just don't think it's going to be this year. It's a perfect spot.
After that, they get Kansas State and Baylor both at home before the bye week.
Yep, I gave them 2 more wins.
I got them 2 more wins there. I have them at 5-0 going into the bye week.
Yeah, me too.
After the bye week, they get at Texas and at Iowa State.
That's
a rough back-to-back. I got them winning at Texas and losing at Iowa State.
Yeah, finally a break for Iowa State there, catching OK State on that second leg of the back-to-back. Yep, bye week then Texas. The fuck Texas tour continues. Win for Texas, OK State.
Forever. After that, they get Kansas at home. Love that. Give me the Oklahoma State win over Kansas.
Yeah, no sweat there.
At West Virginia, then TCU at home.
Two losses for me, actually, for OK State.
I got them with a win at West Virginia and then the loss with TCU. I think they go 1-1 there. I don't know which one they get. I'm just going to give them the loss to TCU.
Fair enough.
Where was I? I got lost. After that, it's at Texas Tech and Oklahoma at home to finish off the season.
Yeah, this is one of the spots where I think Texas Tech catches somebody in a stupid spot. That being said, I have them losing to Texas Tech and beating Oklahoma in Stillwater. Thank you very much. Suck it, Oklahoma.
Flip that for me. Lincoln Riley has not lost Bedlam yet, and I don't see it happening this year. No matter how good Oklahoma State is, Bedlam just never plays out their way.
Yeah, but you gotta want it this year more than ever, right?
I want it so bad.
There was no way I could do it to Mike Gundy. He's a man. He's about 50 now, so I'm giving him this one. He's got to have it.
I got 9 wins for Oklahoma State.
I got 8, but I could much more easily see 9 or 10 than going under that 7.5. I like this. I like this over.
Give me the over. This is my second favorite one so far, is the Oklahoma State over.
Yes, sir. You have to be counting on the fact that the Big 12 is going to be pooling for Iowa State, TCU, and Oklahoma State. Those are the only teams that could throw a wrench into anything that Oklahoma is going to do. I think those guys are going to be getting breaks this year. I like catching them in these spots. I like the over a lot.
Definitely like that. Speaking of one of those teams, TCU is next with a win total set at 7.5. And just glancing at their schedule, it's not the easiest. It's like their back-to-back is kind of rough, and their out-of-conference could be easier.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're like poised to have a pretty decent year.
Yeah, I mean that is a pretty decent out-of-conference schedule. At least you get all the games at home, though.
Mm-hmm.
So I do feel good about that. This is another example of what happened with Oklahoma this year. They get TCU on the second leg of that back-to-back, so I don't like that. But, yeah, let's run through it. I'm just going to say 7.5, Gary Patterson, blindly, I would go over every time.
Yep, same. Blindly, I would go over. They start with they get a third week bye week. They get Duquesne and Cal, both at home before that.
Yeah, Duquesne, I got an easy win there. I know they're not a terrible FCS, but I got an easy win there. Cal, if this game was neutral site, I don't even know what I would do with it. If it was at Cal,
that's a coin flip.
Exactly. I would take the home team in this scenario no matter what. So I'm taking TCU.
I'm right there with you. After the bye week, they get SMU at home and Texas at home.
Yeah, SMU's a really good group of 5 team. We talked about it when we did the AAC. However, they did beat TCU a couple years ago. I expect Gary Patterson to return the favor pretty harshly. And then also the Texas tour keeps on rolling. That game's before the Red River Shootout for Texas. TCU gets the win.
Give me TCU winning both those ones. I think they get the revenge on SMU, and I think Gary Patterson just knows how to beat Texas.
Oh, he owns them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely owns them.
After that, it's a back-to-back away stretch of at Texas Tech and at Oklahoma.
Yeah, I got them beating Texas Tech, losing to Oklahoma.
Same there. And then they get West Virginia at home and at Kansas State.
I love that they get West Virginia at home. That makes that a pretty good win in my mind. I know West Virginia does play them tough, but I'm giving them the win there. I do have them losing at K-State, though.
I also have them losing at K-State and beating West Virginia. After that, they get Baylor at home.
I got a win.
Boys, that's a win right there. At Oklahoma State, and then Kansas at home and at Iowa State to finish off the season.
Yeah, I got them beating OK State and beating Kansas. I got them losing to Iowa State in Ames.
I have them beating Oklahoma State, beating Kansas, and losing to Iowa State.
Okay, yeah, same as me. I got them 9-3.
I have them. Let's see. I'm 9-3 as well.
Yeah, I think it's it might be my favorite over in this whole conference. We'll put it that way. I think it's pretty legit.
I could more easily see TCU winning 10 games than 6.
I could more easily see them winning out their entire schedule if it wasn't for that one back-to-back against Oklahoma. I mean, I could see them winning 11 before I could see them winning 6, if I'm being honest.
Same here.
People can't sleep on Max Duggan or Dugan. I'm not sure really which one it is.
It's Max Duggan.
Okay, but you can't sleep on him, man. That dude has Heisman potential. He's just had to grow into himself. What's he, a junior this year? He's ready to roll, dude. This dude, he reminds me a little bit of a more athletic Andy Dalton. This dude's ready to go. I like him.
Fucking love it. Up next, one of the 2 most hated teams in my life, Texas Longhorns, win total set at 8. I'm just going to tell you, I'm probably going to bet the under just purely out of spite, but after seeing this schedule, it's not easy.
Yeah, and like we said, I mean, they just put a giant target on their back, them and Oklahoma, and Texas, they're not ready to have that kind of target on their back. I mean, I don't understand why people think Steve Sarkisian coming in means this team is going to be so great. Did I miss something? Is it 2009? Is Mac Brown back? Why does this team get so much fucking respect? I don't understand.
Why? So my question is, why do people not view Mac Brown as the outlier for Texas instead of the standard?
Exactly. I don't know.
He's the only person that's won them national championships in the last 30 years.
Yeah. I mean, everybody just gives them like the infinite credit. it's like a longer running joke to me than like people that still think Michigan is great. Like they're not. They haven't been good in years.
It's
been
kind of like
forever.
Miami.
And yes, it's exactly like Miami. And what exactly has Steve Sarkisian ever done as a head coach for people to be excited?
Like he was a good offensive coordinator, but so fucking what?
Who isn't a good offensive coordinator at Alabama?
Like if Lane Kiffin would have jumped from Alabama to like a Power 5 job, not just a Power 5 job, if he would have jumped from like Alabama to like Michigan,
yeah,
people would have like been, what the fuck are you thinking?
Exactly.
It's the same exact thing. He got fucking disgracefully fired at USC. He recovered at Alabama as an offensive coordinator. He did a good job as an OC, and now he's getting a huge Power 5 gig. Lane Kiffin had to fucking go to FAU for 4 years.
I know. I do not understand.
I don't see it.
I do not understand why these coaches that come and they touch Nick Saban for 1 year and then they just go and automatically get some huge Power 5 job just because of it. It's going to happen with Bill O'Brien this year, or next year, I should say. And that's not to say I think Bill O'Brien, he did a great job at Penn State following up everything that went down and keeping them relevant enough. And honestly, I don't think he was that bad of an NFL coach, to be honest. It's just, I mean, you're not going to win a Super Bowl with the Houston Texans. It is what it is.
He just can't be a GM and a head coach at the same time.
You're absolutely right. But I would rather take a shot, and not as a Texas Longhorn at all, but I would rather take a shot with your Jeremy Pruitts and your Kirby Smarts, because at least like those guys there, it's a young commodity. You could be excited about that. These guys that go and they touch Saban for 1 year, they're the same coach they were before. They're not any better just because they went to Alabama for a year. They're not. And Steve Sarkisian has never won a damn thing. I don't know what's his best winning season. Maybe 9 wins. He wasn't
even that great when he was at Washington. Like they were happy to be rid of him and get Peterson.
Yes. So I don't get it. I don't get the hype.
I don't get it. Let's go through the schedule. They start the season off with Louisiana at home. Dangerous G5 game. They're the team that they came into Ames and won by 17 last year.
Yes, they came into Ames and won by 17. I'll tell you something. The Big 12, if they don't dissolve, this is one of the teams that they might be looking at. This could be like a lightweight tryout for a ULL. Also, we got a new quarterback out there in Texas. We got a new coach. We got a lot of new things going on there in Texas, whereas ULL brings back 21 starters, a great coach that would coach circles around Steve Sarkisian, Billy Napier, and a winning quarterback, Levi Lewis. I'm giving the game to ULL, dude. Buck Texas.
Give me the Cajuns, baby. After that, I'm not even going to spend too much time on that. The Cajuns are just, they're in my opinion, they're the better team.
They're the better team, honestly.
Right? Like, they should be favored. After that, they go to Arkansas. And I can tell you this, Arkansas is going to be fired the fuck up for this game.
Man, I went around and around in circles in my brain. I feel bad. I was immediately thinking, of course, Chase, when I was thinking about Arkansas. And I wanted to give them the over. We'll get to it. But they have a hell of a schedule this year.
It's a super tough schedule.
Yeah, fuck Texas. I'm going to win Arkansas.
Yep, same here. Give me Arkansas. I think Arkansas is going to be super fired up. It's one of those situations where they're playing like an old school rival. They're playing an old Southwest Conference rival. I think Arkansas really gets up for it. And I think Arkansas probably views this as one of their winnable games. Yeah, it's one. I'll tell you what, it's one if they want to go bowling that they have to win. Mm-hmm. And then, this is new meat. You're coming to the SEC. This is what you want to do. Guess what? This is one of the SEC's bottom feeders right now. Hello, gonna smack you right in the mouth. This is what you have to look forward to, Texas. Let's fucking go. After that, they get Rice and Texas Tech both at home.
I got 2 wins for them there.
I got 2 wins as well. At TCU after that.
I got a loss.
Oklahoma in the Red River Shootout.
I got a loss.
Got a loss there. Oklahoma State right before the bye week.
Gets a bye week before they play Texas. I got a loss.
A loss. Bye week afterwards. Back-to-back road games at Baylor, at Iowa State.
I have them beating Baylor, but losing the second leg of the back-to-back in Ames.
I have them beating Baylor as well and losing to Iowa State. Kansas at home at West Virginia, and Kansas State to finish off the year.
Wouldn't it be? I don't have it happening.
It would be
Wouldn't
poetic. It would be poetic if Texas loses to Kansas.
It really, really would be. Oh, man. All right, so I got them beating Kansas, losing at West Virginia, and I do have them beating K-State.
I have them losing. I have them beating Kansas, losing to West Virginia, and losing to Kansas State.
So what do you have them? I got them 5 and 7.
Wins. I have them 4 wins.
Suck on that, Texas. I mean, that's
that's
the only
generous,
reason.
If I give them both the Louisiana and the Arkansas win, that's at 6. Then I gotta give them
they're not getting 9 wins.
If they beat Kansas State, West Virginia, Arkansas, Louisiana, 8 is the ceiling.
Yeah.
They're not beating both. So they're not beating West Virginia, Kansas State, TCU, Oklahoma State, Iowa State. They're not beating all of these teams.
No, there's absolutely no chance, dude. This is one of my favorite unders. With the target they put on their back, man, it isn't happening. They're going to be lucky to go bowling.
Without the target, I see this as like a 6. This is like a fringe bowl team.
Yeah, I mean, here's the one thing I will give him. That Bijan Robinson he's
good.
Nasty. And you are going to be, I mean, so they it was only the 61st scoring, but they did have the 19th total defense last year. So this team has been playing a little bit of defense. They are Texas. They do recruit well. They will have talent. With a running back like that, 8.6 yards per carry, 8.6 returning behind 4 of 5 O-linemen. They can control almost any game they're in as long as they don't fall behind. That is the hesitation for me. But under 8. I just
can't trust Steve Sarkisian.
I agree, man. I'm under. I'm heavy under.
I'm heavy under here. Next up, Iowa State. Darling, Iowa State. Win total set at 9.5.
Okay, well, first, let's mention the 19 total starters coming back on this team.
So many players are coming back to this team.
And 2 of them on offense are legitimate Heisman Trophy contenders. 2 of them. Oh, and they have an O-line that has 7 players combining for 93 career starts on their O-line. 7 different guys. That's depth, talent, experience, everything you could want. And hey, you know what my name is? Mike Rose. You know who my favorite player in the country is? Linebacker Mike fucking Rose. Let's do it. Iowa State.
Let's fucking go. Starting off with Northern Iowa and Iowa, both at home.
Yes, this is the year. Iowa, suck it. You're going down in Ames. I got Northern Iowa and Iowa as wins.
I got them both as wins, too. I have the Iowa win as a super close one because El Asico is always a tight game.
Yes, it is. And Iowa, I mean, they've gotten the better. Has Campbell beat them yet?
No, he has not.
I didn't think so. But this is the year, man. I'm down.
This is the year. Then a back-to-back road slate of at UNLV and at Baylor.
I am pissed that they have 2 back-to-back road spots on this schedule. At least this one is not terrible. UNLV, you could barely even count it. Yep. And then you have Baylor. So I'm giving them both wins.
I'm giving them both wins as well. Then they get Kansas going into the bye week.
I got a win for Iowa State.
Got a win for Iowa State as well. Then after the bye week, it's Farmageddon time. Kansas State at Manhattan.
Matt Campbell's ready after the bye week. Let's do it. Get it done. It's a win.
He is ready. And they're going to beat Kansas State. Then they have Oklahoma State at home after that.
Second leg of a back-to-back road trip for OK State. I'm going Iowa State.
Give me the Iowa State win there. Then they travel to West Virginia.
It's tough. I really wish they didn't have that, but I'm giving them the win.
Giving them the win. That's a tough one, especially because it's right before Texas at home in Ames. Weird shit happens in Ames. Give me Iowa State here.
Also, second leg of a back-to-back road trip for Texas. Give me Iowa State.
And then it's Iowa State's second back-to-back road slate at Texas Tech and at Oklahoma.
I got them beating Texas Tech. That is a scary spot. Be careful. Mm-hmm. Of course, Oklahoma. So they got TCU on the second leg of a back-to-back, and now they have Iowa State on the second leg of a back-to-back. I gave the win to Oklahoma.
I got to give the win to Oklahoma, but I think Iowa State goes 1-1 there. So if they drop Texas Tech, they're beating Oklahoma. It's just going to happen. I would also love it way more, if it was in Ames, but Iowa State seems to also have Oklahoma's number recently with Lincoln Riley as head coach.
Oh, Matt Campbell got him. He knows how to beat that team.
They finish off the season with TCU at home.
Be careful, but I got them winning it.
That's careful. I also have them winning that here. Give me an 11-1 Iowa State into the Big 12 championship game to win the Big 12 over Oklahoma, to go to the playoffs as the Big 12 representative. Yeah.
Let me tell you something.
I'm high on corn right now.
I love it. I'm super heavy on this over for one. It's a hard-ass schedule. Yes, it is. It's very difficult. This team's winning 10 or more games, hands down. Let me tell you this. Oklahoma, I am glad that you got Iowa State on the second leg of the back-to-back, because you know what it's really hard to fucking do? It's really hard to beat a team 2 times in the same season. So that's what we see all the time, because Iowa State gets you, and then you catch them in the Big 12 championship, and you get them right back, right? Well, not this year. They lost. When the Big 12 championship comes around, good luck. Matt Campbell's going to own that ass.
Last, and certainly least, because fuck them forever, Oklahoma Sooners win total set at 11 wins. I think we've been pretty forthwith on just saying in general, the 11 win teams were kind of always leaning under. Like Clemson, I was kind of leaning under. Ohio State is going to be an 11 win. I'm probably leaning under. Alabama, I'm probably leaning under. It's the safety net of having that push at 11, because they're probably more likely than not going to go 11.
Yeah.
I just like going under. You're just going to have more of a safety net.
I'll tell you one thing. I mean, Oklahoma, it's not common for them to not drop 2 games in the regular season. Right? It's kind of been Lincoln Riley's MO. So there is that. However, this team does have, hands down, the absolute Heisman Trophy candidate favorite right now. They bring back Kennedy Brooks, who was opted out last year. His career, he has 7.5 yards per carry, 2,000 yards, and 18 touchdowns. Wide receiver core, it's going to be one of the best ones in the country.
It's going to be really good.
O-line is the only question. Alex Grinch completely improving this defense. 29th scoring and total overall last year. And as we've been talking about, their schedule is just hooked up. Absolutely hooked up. No back-to-back roads. Catch 2 of the toughest teams in the conference on back-to-back road trips. It's just ridiculous what they did. I am not super pumped up about this particular 11 win total, because they have every break possible.
They really do. Out of all the conference quote unquote leaders, they probably have the most breaks.
Man, wait till we do the Big Ten, because you're gonna say.
Yeah, Ohio State usually does get a lot of breaks, but I see a similar situation where Ohio State could drop a game. Also, Ohio State's none of their quarterbacks have any experience.
They don't, man. They got all the talent in the world, but not a ton of experience. It's gonna be we're gonna know about Ohio State really fast this year. What's going to happen? So
that'll be for the Big Ten, though. Let's jump into the schedule for Oklahoma. They start the season at Tulane in New Orleans. Got to give them a little bit of props for traveling to a nice, respectable G5, but that's the only props I'm going to be giving them.
Yeah, that game will be decided within the first 5 minutes. If Tulane comes out gunning, hey, maybe we got a ball game. If you go down 1-2 scores, it's going to get ugly really, really fast.
Yeah, if Oklahoma scores quick, if they score in a 5-minute or less drive, that's not looking good.
Let's put it. I wish that was week 2 or 3. Let's put it that way. So win for Oklahoma.
Win for Oklahoma. Western Carolina at home. That's an easy win.
Yes, sir.
I hate saying it, but Nebraska at home. That's an easy win for Oklahoma.
Yeah, I know. I was pissed to see they have them at home this year. Yep.
I'm happy that the game is scheduled. It's a nice rivalry. It'll be a super fun game for everyone who's going. But Nebraska's just not in a spot right now.
I wish these kind of games would happen, because didn't they play Colorado 2 years ago?
They played Colorado last year.
Or was it last year?
2 years ago. It was 2 years ago and 2018.
Yeah, man. I just wish Nebraska was back. I love those games.
I like them in the Big Ten, but man, I would really wish if they scheduled out of conference, they just scheduled like old Big 8 teams.
Now, so you are a Nebraska Big Ten guy?
I don't mind it. I think
Really?
as far as other conferences go, it's probably the next best fit.
Yeah,
and I think with
true.
Now that we have hindsight of if we were still in the Big 12, what the fuck?
Well, that's true.
I've always thought if you're gonna join another conference, the Big Ten is the next best fit. You have the Iowa, Wisconsin. We try and call Wisconsin a rival. They kick the shit out of us all the time, but it's kind of you have that because they have the Nebraska mentality of Barry Alvarez, taking the blueprint. It's kind of like that. I like the Big Ten. I like being in the Big Ten West. I don't hate it like a lot of other fans do, but we just don't have the history. You have the hate of I hate K-State. I hate Colorado. I hate Iowa State. Kansas is shit.
I'll tell you,
whatever.
Hands down, Nebraska. I think that's what pissed me off so much, because regionally it does make a lot of sense. It's fine, but I think honestly the sole reason for me was Nebraska, Colorado. One of my favorite fucking games.
Such a good fuck. There are few rivalries that have that much hate between them.
Oh, I know. It's ridiculous, and especially some of the ones that still do. Ohio State and Michigan, they hate each other, but that game's barely even a rivalry anymore, man.
It's not just old Big 8 teams. Back in 2014, Nebraska played Miami at a home and home. The hate between Nebraska and all three of those main Florida teams is alive and well. Nebraska fans hate Miami, hate Florida State, and hate Florida with a fucking passion.
That makes sense too. I mean, I can't think of two different states.
Dude, the way we hate Miami, I think they really hate Miami just for I think it was 81 or 83. That's the one that burns them.
Look at we're the bridge in the peace gap though. You in Nebraska, me in Florida. We're trying to ice it over, man.
Okay, well, after this steamrolling of Oklahoma over Nebraska, they get West Virginia at home, and then they go to Manhattan to play K-State.
Yeah, another break for Oklahoma. They don't have to travel to West Virginia, so that's a win. And we talked about it earlier. Lincoln Riley, you have to be ready for K-State. I'm giving them the win.
Give me the L at K-State. They're beating West Virginia at home. After Kansas State, it's the Red River Shootout. Texas is going to lose to Oklahoma.
Yeah, I got them losing.
And then after that, they get TCU at home and then at Kansas. Wow, the away game at Kansas. That's so fucking rough, dude.
Yeah. What a tough one for Oklahoma to draw. So obviously they beat Kansas. I haven't beaten TCU because it's the second leg of a back-to-back for TCU.
I got them beating TCU and Kansas. After that, they get Texas Tech before the bye week.
Yeah, I got them beating Texas Tech.
I'm beating Texas Tech. After that, after the bye week, they play at Baylor. Got to favor them in that one. And then Iowa State at home.
Yeah, beating Baylor. You catch Iowa State that second leg of that back-to-back. I'll give you the win.
Finishing the season off at Oklahoma State. And Lincoln Riley just has Bedlam under wraps.
Nope. Suck it, Lincoln Riley. I'm giving the win to Gundy and the boys. I'm doing it. 11-1.
11-1.
11-1 Oklahoma will play 11-1 Iowa State in the Big 12 championship.
And lose.
Let's get it done, Cyclones. I'm game.
Let's fucking go.
Yes.
Hear that, folks? It's the Cyclones coming for a Big 12 championship and a playoff berth. Let's fucking do it.
You still got that ticket, right?
I have a ticket on Iowa State. It's probably, whatever. I have a ticket on Iowa State to win the national championship game. If they are even playing in the national championship game, I will be ecstatic.
They're probably they're one of the teams right there on the outside looking in. You know what I mean? It's probably the absolute most likely long shot that there is, and you got it. So
the experience and the talent that they've retained and the coaching, they have the tools. Their schedule is just so hard.
Yeah, and if they get there, Matt Campbell spent some time at Mount Union. I know it's D3, but that man's got his fair share of championships.
I'll tell you this. You'll know right away that Iowa game is super important. That Iowa game is basically the season.
I agree, and especially with this year, Iowa. I'm not down on Iowa, but it's not a great looking Kirk Ferentz team.
This Iowa to me has more unknowns than you're used to with an Iowa team.
Yes, exactly. I mean, they have a stud running back. They have kind of all the pieces that you kind of expect, but there's a lot more question marks. I think it's like a little rebuild, a little bit for Iowa.
It's all about like I don't really know how to feel about Petrus is my main thing.
I don't think he's good.
Yeah, and that's like the one thing that you kind of need. Like their offensive lines, their offensive and defensive lines are both going to be good. Their defensive as a whole is probably going to be decent, and then it's just their quarterback play is probably just going to what's holding back.
Man, I mean, what's new though? They always have a terrible quarterback, you know.
That's fair. The second they get a decent one, though, they play in a Rose Bowl.
That's why I never understand. I never can wrap my mind around it. You see a guy like, we'll just say a Graham Harrell, who's whatever. He's like tall enough to make the NFL. I get he was a system quarterback, but he had a decent arm. Blah blah blah. And he can't even sniff it really. But then there's guys that go from like Wisconsin, or you got like CJ Beathard going from Iowa, and they just spend like a whole career just fucking around in the NFL. Like I watched you for 4 years in college, 5 years in college. You couldn't throw then. How can you throw now? How are you in the NFL?
I don't fucking understand it. Do you have a favorite win total of the Big 12, my friend?
Texas under 8. F Texas tour, baby. It's not happening. It's my favorite.
Give me the K-State over 5.5 as my favorite play. The second favorite is going to be the Texas under 8. Like, just fuck them forever.
Yes, sir. Yep.
That's what we got.
Ain't going to be any more fun in the SEC. I'll tell you that much.
I will tell you this. This is a super fun conference to watch year in, year out. A lot of fun teams. Love me some Big 12 action. Where can the people find? Let's leave it with this. The Big 12, love the conference. Sad that it seems to be going away. Where can the people find you, my friend?
Yes, sir. They can find me as always on Twitter at 32 Court Vision. And just check me out at BTV. That is better than .Vegas. You can always catch me there breaking down pretty much all college football all the time there. I hate baseball. I don't care about soccer. None of that. I'm not putting out picks on BTV at the moment. You can find tons of cappers who love those sports, like XFL Jim, who put out those picks every single day. So check out BTV, but I'll be giving you football content until the day comes. So that's where I am. Are you going to preview the big news for tomorrow?
Fuck yeah, I am. I am XFL Jim, and you know where you can find me. I'm doing preseason picks over on Better Than Vegas. He shouted it all out. Better Than Vegas is awesome. It's a great website. And let me lay it on you, folks. We got an awesome mega, that's right, I'm calling it mega podcast coming up tomorrow. There's going to be, 5 people on a fucking single podcast. It's the Jimnasium College Football Mega Futures Preview Podcast. We're getting Colby Dant from the Sports Gambling Podcast. We're getting Leo, D-Gens United from Better Than Vegas. I'm getting you, my Gulf Coast guru himself, and Chase, Lupine Fiasco Sessions. We're getting the whole Jimnasium gang together for this mega huge fucking podcast. We're going to be doing conference champions. We're going to be doing our favorite win totals. We're going to be doing hot takes. We're going to be doing national championship picks, Heisman picks. You want anything to deal with college football futures? This is the podcast you better fucking listen to.
Yes, sir. I'm so fucking jacked, dude.
Dude, it's going to be so fucking hyped. I will maybe be making bets live during the podcast while we are talking about this. That is how important this podcast will be to listen to, folks. As I wrap up, you guys know where to find me. Twitter at XFL Jim. Follow me on Better Than Vegas. I'm giving out NFL preseason picks. College football is right around the bend. That means hashtag Garage Certified is right around the bend. My man CFL Jim is giving out CFL picks for the CFL every single week with hashtag CFL Certified. Follow me on YouTube. Follow me everywhere. I love you guys. Big 12, big college football coming your way. We're going to keep doing this. It's going to be amazing. The Jimnasium Tailgate is always going to be on top of college football. Love you guys. Peace out. We out of here.